Hey everybody, happy Star Wars Day, hope you're all doing well. I should have probably prepared a much better video for Star Wars Day, as I absolutely adore this franchise. And a year ago I said that I'd do a Siege of Mandalore review slash breakdown slash analysis, whatever, and I never ended up doing that because I'm busy, and probably being tired, and being asleep, whatever, I'm a teenage boy. So I thought I'd do something for Star Wars Day, and there's loads of YouTubers now that just do breakdown of their top 10 characters, or favorite movies, or favorite so-and-so, whatever, favorite games, and I thought I'd just sit here and explain how much this franchise genuinely means to me, because I absolutely adore Star Wars. It's been with me for so long, and I just wanted to share with you guys how much it really means to me. So yeah, this franchise has been with me since I was a kid, like probably most of you. I remember coming home from school a lot of days, just watching cartoons, and then instantly plugging in my PlayStation 2 and just playing Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga just over and over and over and over and over again. And it was amazing. Like, it was one of those games back then. It wasn't you have to just expect constant DLC or just updates or patches or just like buying things. You just had to expect a fun game, and that's what I got from Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. I don't remember a lot of it, but I just remember having so much fun. I remember playing it with my sister, playing it with my dad, and I remember I have a vivid memory of just spawning into Dexter's diner and just walking up to him and just getting all the little characters and secret codes you can unlock, and then walking around outside and look at all the different ships and stuff that you can get from mini kits. And I had such a blast playing Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, and because of that, that is mostly the reason why I'm going to pre-order the next Lego Star Wars, because I really hope that it captures the same amount of love that I had for the original game. And growing up, I think for some reason I just had the mindset of the prequels are always better, because more Jedi, more explosion, more battles meant a better movie. That was the same case with Spider-Man 3 in my mind, but looking back, yeah, I need to go back in time and slap myself, because obviously the original trilogy is much better. I think my favourite was probably, A New Hope back in the day. I remember for Christmas, I remember ages on my Christmas list doing like, Dad, I really want this massive Millennium Falcon toy. And I eventually ended up getting it. I remember opening it on Christmas morning. I got all my action figures. I got like Chewbacca, I got Han Solo. I loved that Millennium Falcon. It was massive. I've still got it somewhere in the loft. I absolutely loved it. And then those are the sort of memories I can remember from a kid. And I remember just loving Star Wars. And I remember going into a sort of Marvel phase, and I still love Star Wars, but I sort of went into a bit of a dip. Like, I sort of stopped watching stuff. Like, I remember watching a few episodes of Clone Wars back in the day. I feel like I watched that one of two, and I remember really enjoying it. But I was just more bothered about other things. And then I feel like as soon as, like, years later, when The Force Awakens was being announced, that's when I was like, oh, okay, we're getting a new Star Wars movie. Like, it didn't occur to me just like, oh, we're getting a new Star Wars movie, until like a week before I was just like, oh, snap. Like, this is a big deal that we're getting a new movie. And then I remember going to see it opening night. My dad was absolutely so excited. My uncle was there. He was so excited to see it as well, because they've been watching, they saw the originals when they were kids. They were my age. And walking out, I remember absolutely loving The Force Awakens. Except this stupid thing that I did when I walked into a restaurant afterwards. Spoiler alert, I walked in, I being the dumbass 13-year-old that I was, I walked in and went, I can't believe that Han Solo died. And I just get everyone just going, shh, and there was just loads of heads just turning towards me, and I could just sense the hatred growing in the room, and I was just like, oh. So that's why that was the sort of moment where I was just like, okay, I need to keep my lips sealed when walking out of a cinema. So, loved The Force Awakens. Kylo Ren became one of my new favourites. Rey was great, Finn was great. The Han Solo death scene completely shocked me. it was strange. I remember as soon as it happened, I looked over at my dad expecting like a big reaction, because he's been growing up with Star Wars, and the dude just had a blank face. He was sort of just watching it. I was like, oh, your childhood hero just died in front of you, and he just sort of just sat there and shrugged off. I was like, okay. So then we got the trailer for Rogue One. Now, at first I really wasn't a fan of watching Star Wars movies that weren't episode based, if you know what I mean. Like, I saw the trailer for Rogue One, I didn't understand the premise of it, I didn't understand anything that was going on, and I didn't even know the plot until the movie came out, and I watched it. I think I went with my dad, my uncle, my granddad, my stepmom, my sister, everyone came. Straight afterwards we went to Pizza Express. It was amazing, one of the best evenings ever. I remember absolutely being enthralled by it. And Rogue One to this day is probably my top 5 Star Wars movies. Absolutely adored Rogue One. Absolutely amazing movie. I remember walking out and loads of people were just saying, oh, I can't believe Saw Gerrera showed up, and I was like, and who's Saw Gerrera? Because back then I didn't know anything about Clone Wars or Rebels. So it was interesting to see people online just be really excited, like, oh, there's a character from an animated series that showed up in live action. And as soon as I heard that, I thought that was really cool. And I thought just the whole Vader sequence in Rogue One was incredible. The whole Scarif became one of my new favourite planets. Point is, I love the map in Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well. Then, flash forward the next year, very excited for The Last Jedi. I saw that with the same crew that I went to see it with beforehand, same pizza after, it was amazing. Very disappointed by The Last Jedi. Because you know when in a franchise you want everything to be like consistently perfect, and then you get one, like, it's like for example, Spider-Man 3, 1's amazing, 2's amazing, 3 is utter shit. And it's like, you want to just have everything consistently amazing. Now, I absolutely hated The Last Jedi, so did everyone else in my family, except like 2 people. We were sitting there just absolutely hating on the movie. And then that sort of, it didn't make me, like, stop interest in Star Wars. I was just I was really let down by it. And then Solo I saw, like, one day before it was about to leave cinemas, and I absolutely loved Solo. I think that was amazing, even though it has a very mixed reception. Going back to Last Jedi for a second, I think at some point last year I had a moment where I was just like, you know what, I really want to watch The Last Jedi again. So I went in to my DVD store, went to buy it, it was 20 quid, I was like, no, I'm not getting that. Bought it offline, watched it, and it probably went from, because before I probably gave it a 4 out of 10, and now I probably give it a 9 out of 10. I feel like back then it was stuff like Luke's death I couldn't really appreciate because I thought it was useless, and then I realised that's exactly what a Jedi would do. I really appreciate the stuff they've done with Rey, appreciate the stuff they did with Kylo, the whole Crate Planet sequence is amazing, and yeah, I just did a completely 180 on my opinion on The Last Jedi, even though every time I say The Last Jedi is much better than Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker, he just doesn't want to speak to me, which is fine, you know, you can be wrong, that's fine. So yeah, the year after Solo, Rise of Skywalker came out. That was a great year for cinema. We had Endgame, we had The Lighthouse, we had Knives Out, Joker, Parasite, such a great year. Very excited about The Rise of Skywalker. I had a completely different mindset of The Rise of Skywalker. Going in, loved it, probably gave it an 8 out of 10. And then like a few weeks later and months, I watched it on Blu-ray, and it probably went down to like a 6 or a 5. Like, there's moments in it where I love it, and then there's some moments it's just like, why? Like, the whole Death Star thing, it blows up, like, it's completely intact on a different planet, Palpatine dies, he shows up, that sort of ruins Vader's arc, Finn didn't have anything to do. There's some stuff I love, like the entire Exegol bit at the end is amazing. What else is great in that movie? The stuff they do with Rey is really good. I like the stuff they do with Luke. I just feel like it could have been a much better conclusion to the saga. I still think that the sequel, do not hate me, please. I do think that the sequel trilogy is, you know, it's hard to say. I love the sequel trilogy, I'm mixed on the prequels, even though I really love Revenge of the Sith. They're both about the same in my eyes. There's 2 really good movies, and there's 1 crap one. There's 2 really crap ones, and there's 1 excellent movie, so I don't know which trilogy to put over the top. Point is, Rise of Skywalker was just an okay movie. Fast forward, I think it was like a month, or no, it was like a week after that movie came out. I don't know, I think it was a few weeks before that. The Mandalorian came out. I knew nothing about Mandalorians. All I knew is that there was Boba Fett, and I didn't even know what a Mandalorian was. I just saw that and I was like, oh, it looks like Boba Fett. Like the first episode I saw of The Mandalorian, it very much reminded me of the instant vibe. It was A New Hope, just instantly, and that's when I was just, it made me want to go back on YouTube and just rewatch old scenes and really get into other series and look at other lore and books and everything. And as each episode came on, I just came more and more just, this universe is massive. I love Star Wars again. And that's what The Mandalorian did for me. It seems like I'm about to go on a massive Mandalorian video, but it was just The Mandalorian that really brought the franchise back to me. Plus, I went back and replayed Battlefront 2, and I've spent like a whole year and a half on that game now, and I absolutely love it. I just wish they added more content to it. So at that time I had Mandalorian, Battlefront 2, that was still getting updates at the time, Rise of Skywalker, life was good. Until my friends Robert and Stuart, hey guys if you're watching this, you probably are, but I haven't skipped this forward in the video because you love playing Modern Warfare, but point is, you guys recommended me Clone Wars and Rebels. Now, I watched Clone Wars when I was a kid, remember a few bits of it, but it's when Disney Plus finally came out in the UK, because I had to pirate Mandalorian, but whatever. Clone Wars, I started off chronological order with my dad, and at first I thought it was just okay, but then as the episodes and the arcs kept going along, because he was very confused about me having to jump from one episode to a completely different series to go in chronological order, and he was really confused, so was I, and we just fell in love with Clone Wars. Like, considering it's a show back in like 2008, the quality is incredible. It's so cinematic, it makes the prequel so much better. Anakin went from one of my least favourite characters to probably my top 5. Obi-Wan's amazing. Ahsoka Tano, oh my god, if I could make a whole video on Ahsoka Tano, I really would do. Ahsoka Tano, I knew who she was, I knew Ventress, I knew who Rex was. Just Ahsoka, Ventress, and Rex. If you haven't watched Clone Wars, please do. These characters are just, they rival Luke and Vader in terms of character development. They are some of the best characters in the entire franchise, and I was missing out a lot. Like, just, I can't believe I haven't watched these seasons of Clone Wars beforehand. Like, just, like, I knew Maul was in it as well, and I didn't expect them to give Maul, who was he was just basically eye candy in The Phantom Menace, killed him off. They brought him back and then made him into one of the best Star Wars characters ever. Like, they gave him such a great arc, and the stuff they do with him on Mandalore, it's just the whole idea of Darth Maul taking over the planet of Mandalorians and just becoming king and getting revenge on Obi-Wan Kenobi for slicing him open. It's fucking Shakespearean. I love it, and because of that, I'm so happy that I can do a really good impression of Darth Maul. Savage, ready the Armada. I just did a dark side quote, that wasn't even Maul, but the point is, I'm so happy I can go on Xbox Live and do a Maul impression, so yeah, after all that, Siege of Mandalorian, Clone Wars Season 7 came out. Siege of Mandalore, I really need to do a video of this on Sunday, oh my good grief. Siege of Mandalore, if they released those 4 episodes as a movie, it would probably be my favourite movie of all time. The Siege of Mandalore, I loved Star Wars before then, but it was the Siege of Mandalore that really made me go, oh, like, this is like perfect, this is like, you can't get better than this, Star Wars, like, you've reached your peak. And then shortly after that, I watched Rebels. Season 1 was okay, Season 2, 3, and 4 were absolutely a masterpiece. I love Rebels now. And then Mandalorian Season 2 came along. I read all the leaks. I remember being like, oh my god, Boba Fett's going to be at Bo-Katan. Because I know all these characters now. I don't just want to... I can't go... I don't... Ugh, let me restart. I won't go into that show for you like, who's this? Who's Cobb Vanth? Who's Bo-Katan? Who's Ahsoka? I know these characters now. So as soon as I see these in live action, it's such a special moment. I don't think I've ever had a time where I'd be like, oh my god, there's that character from this animated show. I wonder who this animated character is going to be played by on the big screen. It was such a great moment to sit there and just see them. Like, imagine if you didn't look at the leaks, you'd be absolutely just flabbergasted. And especially Luke in the finale, which I went over on my podcast, he completely shocked me because that didn't get leaked. And then that just made me just so surprised. And then the point is Boba Fett getting a show. Just the whole point of The Mandalorian reminds me so much of when I used to watch it as a kid, especially watching A New Hope. It's very much like a western, like in the style of Tatooine. And that's why I love it so much. And then, fast forward, Bad Batch. I have not watched that just yet. And that looks amazing. Back in December, there was like 15 or something different Star Wars shows. Loads of new games are getting leaked / announced. We're getting an open world Star Wars game soon. Fingers crossed with Battlefront 3, even though they got rid of support for no fucking reason. Yeah. I love Star Wars. This franchise means so much to me. If I'm ever in a bad mood, I just come home and go on my phone and look up Ahsoka versus Maul, or Darth Maul versus Palpatine, or just... I'd rewatch a trailer, or I'd rewatch a really essential scene, or just look at some Lego Star Wars that I consider buying. The point is, it's been with me for so long, and I hold this franchise so close to me, that it was no longer something that I just be like, oh yeah, I really like Star Wars. It's now something I love. It's now something I really want to be a part of. I really just want to... Like, just making videos, just talking about games and different Mandalorian episodes and, like, future games and stuff that could come out. And I just really... Like, this makes me really want to make a Star Wars short film someday. I really want to make one. And that's down to The Mandalorian and Clone Wars. And the original trilogy. Man, I love Star Wars. Man, oh man, do I love Star Wars. Oh boy, I love this franchise. So yeah, there's my sort of unscripted Star Wars special-ish. I've had to record this like 10 times because I just kept going, hey guys, welcome, and I kept stuttering. So, point is, I've recorded it now. So, thank you guys for listening. I've got some more podcasts coming up real soon. I really want to do a really big video on Siege of Mandalore because I want to deconstruct the hell out of that. I want to do a big video on WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. Loki's coming up soon. Bad Batch podcast, they'll be starting very soon. Thank you guys for watching. See you soon.